So it's currently like well past 3 a.m. 3:30 a.m. over here. I just finished watching the FF14 showcase, and I needed to talk about it. I would have recorded like live reactions and stuff to the trailer as I usually do, but I've got my own little tradition I like to do whenever it comes to a announcement for an expansion or anything in FF14, and that's where I just like to sit in Limsa on my character and talk to other players on the game about what's being announced. And now I'm going to do the same and talk to you guys about it. I've got my notes just here. So the big thing is the next expansion is called EndWalker. Really like the name. I know the name Forspoken got trademarked a while ago, and I was pretty much guaranteeing it would be Forspoken. But no, EndWalker, I like it. I'm so glad it is not another SB, because Stormblood and Shadowbringers just confusing when we're trying to abbreviate them. So EW, that works. The game's going to be based on like they're recreating the final days, which we kind of guessed Fan Daniel was aiming to do anyway. The big thing is we're going to the moon. And I'm not even joking. We are heading straight to the moon. Well, not straight to the moon, but by the end of 6.0 we will be at the moon. They've announced a new healer job. I don't even play healer. Like, that's my least favorite class to play, and I really like the look of the new healer job. The new healer job is called Sage. It's got these weapons that are original to FF14, although a lot of people in the chat were saying Gundam, and UHP was like, no, totally original. So yeah, but I really like the look of it. It reminds me of like the psychic dress sphere from FF10 2, and I'm probably going to be mentioning FF10 and 10.2, maybe not 10.2 as much, but I'm going to be mentioning FF10 quite a bit during this. So EndWalker is going to be the final part of the Heidelin and Zodiac story arc. Honestly, I was terrified for a minute. I thought they were saying the EndWalker is that's it, that's the end. We're finished with FF14. Thankfully, now it's just the end of the Zodiac and Heidelin storyline. And apparently 6.0, the base expansion, is going to completely finish off that story for us. And as of 6.1, we're going to be venturing into a new story, which is kind of unusual the way these expansions usually go. Usually we get a good chunk of the story done in the 0.0, and then we'd finish that story by usually 0.3. But no, 6.0, this Zodiac and Idling completely done. 6.1, we're going to be heading into something else. Yoshi P has confirmed that he is never leaving. He's going to be working on FF14 forever. He said he'd even continue after his death. Was that a hint for a necromancer job? I kind of hope so. And Alice both got new outfits in the trailer, and they both look fantastic. Really like the new looks. The level cap being up to 90, which I think we expected. We've always gone up 10 levels. 60 in Heaven's Ward, 70 in Stormblood, 80 in Shadowbringers. Would have been really unusual if we jumped straight to 100 in EndWalker. They did announce the new areas, and this one, Radz-at-hans, is a city in Favnir. Obviously, we've heard of Favnir, and we've heard of Radz-at-hans for a long time. Again, I get mega Spira vibes from Radz-at-hans and Favnir. That kind of like fantasy East Asian setting, which just really screams Spira to me. And like I said, more on FF10 and Spira in general soon. Let's just skip to the other area that we're going to, which is Garlemald, the capital. From the pictures we saw of Garlemald, it looks destroyed. So I'm assuming Xenos and Fan Daniel really did a number on this place. Are we gonna go and, in a weird twist of fate, liberate Garlemald from the Ascians? Well, this one unsundered Ascian we've got, and whatever the hell Xenos is. You know what I'd love to see is, like, if we put a leader on the throne for Garlemald, like someone we can trust, and I'd love that person to be Nero. let's bring Nero back into the story more. Let's do more with Nero. Would Nero want it? He likes power, so maybe. The new beast tribes, the Mantango. I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but Mantango. This is the only new beast tribe they've shown us. I absolutely love the design. As someone that's a big fan of like big beast races, I play a Hrothgar on one of my characters. I really like these and wish they were a playable race. They look fantastic. Now, I don't do many hunts, but Yoshi P and the chat were saying that there is a hunt mark of one of these, and now we're going to actually be getting to see their tribe. That was the only beast tribe they showed us. They did hint at more. One of the hints they gave us is obviously we're going to the moon. What lives on the moon? Final Fantasy, moon. What could it be? My guess is the Lunarians. The moon's not going to be an empty place, is it? And obviously, I feel with the moon, there's going to be some FF4 references in there. So quite possibly the Lunarians. Like I said, I'm going to be going back and forth to FF10. This is the last time I'm going to FF10 because they announced a new... I don't know if it's going to be a primal because we seem to have stepped away from primals recently. I'd like it if it was a primal. We're getting Anima. I've been wanting an Anima fight in Final Fantasy XIV since the Realm Reborn days. I've always thought Anima is the perfect enemy to take from another Final Fantasy and put into 14. Imagine like an 8-man fight against Anima, and halfway through the fight the party splits up. 4 of you go and take on the head, 4 of you go and take on the bottom. Oh, I'm really looking forward to fighting Anima again. They said we're going to be getting challenging new dungeons. The first one they showed us was this one here, that everything's on fire, and it just reminds me of that meme with the dog where it's like, this is fine. Also kind of reminds me of whole Mr. Switch, I guess. Be funny if it is the first dungeon. And yeah, it's obviously in Favnir, looking at the surroundings. It's on fire. The final days are being recreated, so that makes sense. Nothing really much more to say about it. The second one, which they showed us, it looks to me like it could be inside one of Fandaniel's towers. No, it kind of looks Allegan, either Allegan or Ascian, kind of organic in a weird way. So I guess we'll have to wait and see from that. But the third that they showed us is definitely somewhere in Garlemald. It looks very modern, and it kind of reminds me of the train graveyard from FF7. So maybe train graveyard dungeon, that'd be pretty awesome. Maybe finally Doom Train boss, I'd like that. They said that some dungeons will be high fantasy and like ancient ruins, where others are going to be more modern, and I think we're seeing a bit of each of that on here. The new End raid, the picture they showed, is definitely La Habrea. I honestly thought we was done with La Habrea a long time ago. Maybe he's somehow survived or something, I don't know, or maybe this is one of his plans that he's put into action that has only just come to fruition. The raid itself is called Pandemonium, which is both an FF9 and FF2 reference, if I'm remembering correctly. There is Castle Pandemonium in FF2 and the airship Pandemonium in FF9. But they did say that this new high-end raid is completely original to Final Fantasy XIV. Because obviously the last two that we've had, Eden was very heavily based on FF8 in a weird little way, and the one before it was just let's literally take bosses from past Final Fantasies and throw them into a raid. So I'm looking forward to something original. The new Alliance raid as well, they didn't say much. They said that there'd be more info to come during the Digital Fan Festival. It's based on a piece of Eorzean lore that has not been answered. If I was a bit more awake, I could probably try and think of something, but I'm mind blanking at the minute. So we'll probably theorycraft on that soon. It's completely original to 14 and not a crossover, which we've not had a non-crossover Alliance raid since Void Ark, the Void Ark series. Obviously the last ones were Final Fantasy XII, Tactics, Evilists, and the current ones Yora near Automata, which I've still not played. Big thing that came as a shock for me was new PvP content. I actually forget PvP content exists in 14. I'm not really an avid PvP player. I will sometimes do my roulette for a bit of experience, but getting into a queue is near on impossible on my data center. They said it'd be more casual and immersive with removal of rules restrictions and a new reward system, not just gear. So maybe mounts, minions, things like that. I've got a feeling if rewards are like mounts and minions, more people are going to want to join in, and maybe it'll actually give some life to PvP roulette. The role quests are returning, along with gather and crafter quests. They're changing the system slightly. So before, obviously, we had a physical DPS, a magic DPS, a tank, and a healer role quest. All they're doing now is separating the physical DPS into melee and range. So just an extra lot of quests, and they can focus it more based on that. I'll be honest, it was quite confusing as a samurai to be teamed up with a archer in the Shadowbringers DPS role quest, so I'm quite looking forward to that. Now, I got very excited when they told us there was going to be a gold source update and they were putting something big into the game. They're putting something massive into it, apparently, and the chat was going crazy. Everyone shouting Blitzball, Blitzball, Blitzball. A few people shouting snowboarding, which I also wouldn't mind, but I'm hoping so much for Blitzball. It seems with the few little FF10 references that I'm spotting here, that would be awesome. The Island Sanctuary is a new thing they're putting in. The best way I can describe this, that what I got from it, was that this is going to be Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon meets Final Fantasy XIV. And honestly, pretty hyped for that. Pretty damn hyped. This bit I didn't quite understand. The battle system adjustments, from what my basic knowledge of numbers and technical things, they were saying that they're going to downscale some of the values, so we're going to be doing less damage now, but the enemies will have less damage, less health, so we don't really notice. Basically, the numbers are just getting monstrously high, and they're wanting to avoid any problems with the value resetting itself to 0. If that makes any sense to you, well done, because I've probably completely butchered all of that. They're removing belts. They are getting rid of belts. Belts are no longer needed. The equipment slot is going. All our belts are going to the Calamity Salvager. Belts will no longer drop in dungeons. Because let's face it, belts are useless. Obviously now we have 35 extra armory spaces. 15 of them are going to primary weapons, while 15 are going over to the rings, and the extra 5 are being held in reserve for if they ever feel like they need to put them anywhere else. They did some talk about data center travel and how they're trialing that out. They said there's going to be a lot more restrictions to data center travel than there is world travel. So we'll just see what happens with that. I am looking forward to being able to get back to like the North American servers. I started off on North American servers, and, you know, just going and visiting people that I used to play with. That might be fun. But other than that, I can't really see any use of data center travel for myself personally. They announced that Final Fantasy 15 is coming to the PS5. It's getting its own PS5 version. It's got faster loading times, 4K resolution, stuff like that. You know, just a more cleaner version of it. As someone that used to play the PS4 version, it is quite janky. It didn't used to feel that way, but ever since I started playing on PC, I can really tell the difference. And if you've already got a PlayStation 4 version, you can get a free upgrade to the PS5 version. Although Yoshi P did make the joke of, you just need to find a PS5 first. They announced that there is going to be beta testing going live on April the 13th for the PS5 version, and also let slip that April 13th is going to be the release date of patch 5.5. They said there'll be more information to come at the Digital Fan Festival, May 15th and 16th. And they showed off a mount that they're releasing on the cash shop for that, and it is the Lunar Whale. And it is a 8-person mount, and I want it. I want it so much. I love Final Fantasy IV, and I had a feeling we'd get Lunar Whale in some form with all these moon references and stuff. As well as that, there are minions of Edge, Rosa, and Rydia. I really want the Rydia one. Rydia is one of the best Final Fantasy girls in my opinion. Definitely one of the best summoners. So that's just a brief overview of what was said and what went on tonight. If you enjoyed this video, drop a subscribe. My socials are down below. And remember, adventurers, forever walk in the light of the crystals.